You get an A for
Hello and
effort,
welcome.
Mr. Summers.
So
We
the
both know
first
you're no
two
Charles
episodes
Xavier.
of Xmen 97 is out, and I decided I wanted to give another review of it. So in the first episode, we see someone who's later um, explained to be Sunspot um, in captivity by the Friends of Humanity. He gets rescued by the X-Men, and during this rescue, we see some quite interesting moves by Cyclops, using his optic blast to skate around the warehouse that Sunspot is kept in. This episode feels like a mix between the Knights of Sentinels, the very first episode of X-Men the Animated Series, and the end of that season, where it starts with a new mutant being captured by Sentinels and Sentinel-like technology. And then the final ending of the episode is the X-Men fighting against Master Mold and Sentinels. We see that Cyclops and Jean are almost certainly going to be leaving the X-Men, and the episode actually ends with Magneto showing up, explaining that Charles Xavier left everything that he owned to Magneto. This includes the mansion and the X-Men. This sets up the part 2. So at the start of part 2, the UN shows up with helicopters and men, and we see a divergence between Cyclops and Magneto, where Cyclops is saying that we don't run when the good guys show up, and Magneto is a little bit wiser in this circumstance, where he has seen some of the negative parts of mankind and is trying to get the X-Men to rally together, treating the UN as an enemy. We see that the UN is here to actually arrest Magneto, and
They're gone. Who the heck is gonna lead
they
the
explain that their guns don't respond to magnetism. Magneto points out that the helicopters do. I found that part a little bit funny. Magneto then turns himself in, saying that I assume I'll get a fair trial. The trial at the UN, the Friends of Humanity is hacked, and during the trial, and we see Magneto get released from his mutant suppressing collar based on Storm's orders. One of the things that I really liked about Storm in these two episodes is you see her authority again, where when Storm speaks, everyone listens. I think it was the first episode, actually, where the Sentinels recorded Storm as an Omega level mutant. And we see Storm's power in multiple occasions in these first two episodes. So Storm basically ordered the UN to release Magneto, release the collar off of Magneto, and they listen. So what else happened in that episode? The other thing that also occurred was that the Friends of Humanity had a gun that's loaded with what gets termed to be radiation that deactivates the X gene, and the plan was to deactivate the X gene of Magneto, but Storm saw the shot and blocked it, which prevented Magneto from being depowered, but Storm ended up being depowered. The episode ends with Beaks explaining to Storm that this is a permanent change. There's almost no chance that Storm loses her powers forever, but we'll see. And then there's a surprise ending where we see another Jean Grey shows up at the door. And so we immediately, those who know from the comics, know that one of them is probably a clone of Jean Grey. Almost certainly the one that is on the outside. Which then begs the question, how long has the real Jean Grey been missing? Anyways, I would rate the first episode probably strong B+, and the second episode probably a weak A-. So I did enjoy the second episode a bit more than the first episode, but they both were pretty good. The animation took me a little while to get used to. The updated intro works quite well, but I think the animation grew on me very quickly, and the X-Men do feel like the X-Men. We'll see where this goes. Oh, one more thing. The romantic subplot between Rogue and Magneto. I don't know how far they're going to take it, but I do like that Gambit immediately found out that there's something going on between Rogue and Magneto, instead of drawing it out. So we'll see what next week's episode has in store, and maybe I'll release another video. Thanks. Bye.
Be silent, heed my commands, and you shall survive.